Welcome to Littler House. Today we are going to make some handy card holders that make a great little quick Christmas gift or just something to have around to use at your house if you have company coming for the holidays. These are very handy, no pun intended, for holding your playing cards, especially for people who have difficulty, like maybe they have some arthritis in their hands or children. Even left-handed folks can have trouble with holding cards in their right hand so that they can see the numbers. So these come in quite handy, and I think you'll like this quick little project. So the supplies that we will need are a couple of CDs. I don't know about you, but I have stacks of these and nothing to even play them on anymore. So I certainly don't use them. If you don't have any CDs or DVDs handy that you could use for this project, you can pick some up at a local thrift shop very cheap. Or, of course, even your online retail stores will sell these blank CDs really inexpensively these days. So grab yourself a couple of CDs. You will not get these back unless you demolish the project. So this isn't just like a template or something. So you do need to be able to do without. You have batting, which I have cut 2 pieces of batting the same size as my CDs. And then you need 2 pieces of fabric. These fabric circles are cut 1 inch bigger than the CD or the batting. So if I lay this out, you'll be able to see what I did was I just marked 1 inch away from the edge all the way around and just cut it out. Finally, you need a couple of buttons. The size of the buttons doesn't matter. I used these big chunky decorative buttons, but you can use any size that you have handy laying around. Leftover buttons is a great thing. They don't even really have to match. You've got to be able to line the holes up because you're going to have to put the needle all the way through. These will be sort of back to back. So at a minimum, the buttons do need to have holes that align. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 2 fabric circles over to the sewing machine and I am going to put a couple of lines of gathering stitches all the way around the edge of both of these circles so that I can gather them up. So I'm going to go do that first. I don't think you need to see how to do that. That should be pretty straightforward. But just in case you're brand new to this, it's going to be a straight stitch at my longest stitch length that I do not lock the beginning or ending of. And I'll go all the way around and stop where I started. So I'll be right back when I'm done with that. We have our 2 lines of stitching done here. So you can see I did a very long stitch length and I did not secure the ends and I just stitched 2 rows within the seam allowance. That, remember, we added 1 inch. So within that 1 inch seam allowance all the way around. Why do 2? Well, technically you don't have to. You could just do 1, but do understand that that second line of stitching really is kind of an insurance policy. Because if you just have 1 line of gathering stitch and you break that thread or it pulls free or something happens, then you're out of luck and you have to start over. So as tempting as it is sometimes, especially on fabric this thin, the likelihood I'm going to break the thread is pretty low, but I do it anyway because I have broken those threads enough times that I know how frustrating it is and I don't want to do that. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I lay my little fabric circles wrong side up, just like this. I put my batting piece in the middle, just centering it relatively straight. This one's already started to gather up, you can see, while I was stitching it. And then the CDs go on top of that. Face up, face down, doesn't matter. They're going to be covered. Okay, now that I have those in place, I'm going to pull my gathering threads and gather this up around the CD. I sort of go a little bit from one direction and then I switch to the other direction. And as you can see, what I'm doing here is just pulling it down tight. I will make sure it's smooth on the other side. And then I take my 2 sets of threads here. All right, so I'm just going to pull those taut and I'm going to knot these threads. So tie it once like the beginning of a shoelace, and then you will pull it taut again and tie the second time to finish your knot. I'm going to do a third time. We do want this to be secure. So I'm going to tie one more time here just to make sure this doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so you can see I have one CD completely covered. I'm going to trim up these threads and do the other CD the same way. Okay, second CD covered, nice and smooth. Let's trim these threads. Okay, we are all trimmed, ready to go. So what I need to do now is just finish sandwiching them together. This is actually the last step. So I have a needle and thread here. My thread is doubled just to basically save me time. You do not have to double the thread, but then you'll need to make twice the number of passes that I make. So I'm going to put my button on the outside here, and I'm going to find the holes. Now I'm going to just go ahead and put a couple of stitches to lock this button into place, but it really is just a placeholder for a second. So you see I've just made 2 passes just to hold the button in place. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be passing that thread back through the other CD, wrong sides together, and through the button on the other side. So we'll sandwich those. And then you're just going to have to fiddle with it for a second until you can make sure they're actually aligned, because you need the holes to line up in order to be able to stitch this, obviously. A little bit fiddly at first. Here we go. All right, so I got that through. Now it should be easier to line it up. And what I'm doing is stitching through the button and CD hole on that side, all the way through the one on the other side. And we're just going to make several passes until this is solid. Okay, after I've made a few passes in one direction, then I need to make some passes in the other direction. Just to make this look a little neater, I'm actually going to slide my needle under the vertical threads there. That will allow me to move to the horizontal position without having a diagonal line over here between the holes. That is 100% cosmetic and just my personal choice. Do not stress about that if you don't want to do it that way. Okay, now we're going to make several passes the other direction. Your holes should pretty much line up now, so it should be much easier to pass this needle through. So I'm going to finish doing that, and then I'll come back and show you how to finish this off in the end. Okay, so now that we are happy that this is secure, all I'm going to do to finish this off is to run my needle under the threads again. Now, with your button being smaller than mine, you might be able to get out from underneath it to pull your thread through under the button. That would work as well, to knot it sort of the traditional way. I can't get my needle out from between the button and this fabric because my button's too big, but this works absolutely fine. So what I did was I made a loop that you can see now is looped over my thumb, and I'm going to put my needle back through it twice. So that's wrapped around my needle 2 times, and then I'm going to pull it tight. Okay, then I'm going to do that one more time under the little bundle of threads. Keep the loop around my thumb. I'm going to take my needle through the loop twice. You can see the thread is wrapped around the needle 2 times. And then I'm going to pull that tight. I'm sort of trying to direct the knot down into that hole a little bit. This is not really going to be all that noticeable, but okay. And then I will just trim that off quite close, but without cutting the knot. Now you can see that's a tidy finish. Even though the knot is there, it is visible if you looked for it. Nobody's going to notice that. So this is actually done now. So let me show you how it works. So I have a few playing cards here, and what I would do is hold on to this and just insert my cards here, just like this, in between the 2 CDs. There we go. And I have a nice secure card holder. You can see those are not going to fall out. I'm not having to grip this tight. So again, older people or people with arthritis in their hands have a hard time with gripping something tightly. This is very easy now. I could even put it down if I didn't want to hold it the whole time. Pick it back up. You can see that is quite secure, and yet those are not tight in there. It's still very easy for me to pull them out. So I think this is great for kids. Honestly, I like to use it as well just because it just makes it easier. So I hope that you like this project and see how quick that is. Makes a great little gift, and give it a try and let me know how it works for you. Hope that helps.